There we go. Hey, Yang Gang, what is up with everybody? It is us, Melanated Council of Yang, aka McCoy, coming to live Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and where everybody else is at in between times, y'all can figure that out. I ain't got that. I don't have that brain power to do so. Not today. No. We got this one. Like, subscribe, and enjoy. And coming to you guys tonight, we have a very special guest. We have no other than Crypto Joe. Woo!
How's it going?
We got Crypto Joe in the house, and he's going to kick us some knowledge on cryptocurrencies. Yes, we're talking crypto 101. So for those of us like myself and a few others, we kind of dabbled into it and whatnot, but kind of still like, yeah, we know what it is, but then again, we kind of don't know what it is. So we got my man Joe. He's going to kick us that knowledge. And so, Joe, you know.
But first, Joe, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Joe.
I thought you were just like, go, Crypto Joe, crypto.
My name is Joe, born and raised in Nebraska.
Okay.
I joined the military as soon as I got out of high school. I spent 5 years in the military and then came back to Nebraska because the military just wasn't for me. After I came back to Nebraska, I just did the little part-time jobs, became part management for a manufacturing company. And then crypto changed my life. 2016 came around. Had a buddy of mine tell me that there was something that would change my life. And I said, okay, what is this? And he says, do you like money? I said, absolutely, I love money. He said, okay, how about decentralized money? And I said, well, what do you mean? The dollar is decentralized. I can give you $1 and you give me $1 and nobody knows about it. And he says, how about technology that's decentralized? And I said, okay, tell me more. So we got together and he kind of explained to me about Bitcoin. And that's where it all kicked off. And here we are today.
Nice. I know. And did you go to Nebraska for college?
I did a couple of semesters there, but I never graduated from Nebraska. I just did a couple of management courses.
I was going to say, like, Cornhuskers, Big Ten.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Guys, still got to keep it in the Big Ten conference, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. So, because I know you said you got introduced to Bitcoin and everything else. What was it about Bitcoin that kind of drove you to invest in it?
First, it was the money, of course. I mean, who doesn't like money?
Said,
an annual percentage rate of 200% year over year. That's typical for Bitcoin. But once I dug more and more into Bitcoin, learning about the mining and everything that goes inside of Bitcoin, it kind of changed the way I thought about investing in Bitcoin itself. It wasn't about the money anymore. It's about being just financially free, away from the dollar that is never ending. They can create trillions and trillions of dollars, and nobody really understands how the dollar is just worth nothing anymore. They see that everybody's getting stimuluses and this and that. Before, I mean, back in the day, 2016, there was no stimulus that they were giving out, but gas prices were going up. 2015, 2016, they were $4 and some cents in California. That's where I was at, and it was just ridiculous. But with Bitcoin, it's there's a capped supply. There's 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be created. With the dollar, it's never ending. They actually said that they have an infinite supply of money. All they have to do is print it. So that's what really got me going with Bitcoin.
Okay. So the fact that it's there's a limited amount of Bitcoin, how is that better than, I guess, printing out money like forever? Is it because if they can print as much money as they want, then they could literally just give money to anybody, but they just
Absolutely.
choose not to?
Yeah, you don't want your dollar to be nothing. I have a Zimbabwe dollar in my pocket that is worth $1 trillion in Zimbabwe money, which is absolutely like 34 cents, I think, in US terms. So you don't want the dollar to get to that stage. So when you have an infinite supply of something, it's worth nothing. When you have a cap supply, that is when you know that something is worth something. Kind of like gold, silver. There's only enough in the earth. That's why it's worth something.
Okay.
I get you. I get you. I get you.
I'm going to ask you another silly question. You said there was 21 million Bitcoins, or is it 21 billion? 21 million?
There will be 21 million after everything's said and done. Every 4 years. So since the beginning, when Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, he put a cap supply on it of 21 million. Every 4 years, the supply gets cut in half. It's called the halvening. So the halvening means that miners, basically, let's think of this as like gold. So you're mining Bitcoin with GPUs. It used to be. Now it's ASIC miners because it gets tougher and tougher to mine Bitcoin. So you'll be mining cryptocurrency, and every 4 years, on a certain date, it'll get cut in half. So if you're mining and you're making 1,000 Bitcoin per hour, let's say, after that 4 years, it'll get cut in half. So you're only making 500 Bitcoin. That's why it gets more and more, we can put it in dollar terms, more and more scarce to find that Bitcoin, is because the miners only can make a certain amount every hour. And every 4 years, that gets cut in half, less and less and less.
Wow. So it's a way of regulation.
Say again?
It's a form of regulation.
Oh, I mean, it's not really a form of regulation. It's more of a capped supply. So
Okay.
it's like somebody giving you, let's say, $20 an hour, right? And everybody in the world is making $20 an hour. And then every 4 years, they cut that in half. So now everybody's only making $10 an hour. So that dollar would be actually worth more in terms of supply. It just makes things more scarce. The more scarce an object is, the more you want it. Diamonds, you can't find as many diamonds. You want more, It's more of that. It's more of that sense.
So the more scarce it is, the more valuable it becomes.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Okay. And so would that be a direct or indirect relation to the actual dollar amount of, let's say, Bitcoin? Like, because it is so scarce, its average value is about 50 grand. Correct? Incorrect?
Correct. That's of what people believe that it's worth. So from my point of view, it's not about the dollar. It's about how many I can get. Like, I mean, as far as investing goes, I'm a gold and silver investor. You don't really think of gold and silver as being a dollar value, as more of what you can actually get for that silver and gold. So that's what I think about Bitcoin. So, I mean, like silver, gold, Bitcoin, they all have a market value. On the market, it is going for a certain price. But what you can get on the private market value for, like, let's say silver on the market value right now in public traded markets you can get about $25 for 1 ounce of silver. But in the private market, it's selling for about $35 an ounce. Same with Bitcoin. If you were able to trade it privately, which you can't anymore, government kind of regulated that, but you can still do. But there's individuals selling on the private market for Bitcoin because of the scarcity for $70,000 to $80,000 a Bitcoin.
Wow.
So is Bitcoin a physical thing? Because sometimes I see like images that look to be like digitally generated of like a circle with like a B in it that has like the two lines in it, almost like a $sign with the two lines, but it's a B with the two lines.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, it's not a physical thing.
Okay.
It's all digitally. The same as your cash. I mean, when they're sending out trillions of dollars in stimulus, you're not actually getting that physical dollar. You're getting that pushed directly into your bank account. And that bank account actually owns that dollar until you pull it out. It's more of an IOU. But with Bitcoin, you can get it directly into you can custody it into your own market, into your own wallet. So you know that you have it and it's yours. It's not in some bank account that somebody just says, yeah, it's an IOU.
Wow.
So in part, it's kind of physical because you can actually have it on your own cell phone, but really everything's digital nowadays.
Sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, heck, you can use your debit card on your cell phone now. That's like the weirdest thing ever. But it's like, yeah, I can pay my grocery bill on my cell phone. Like, okay, that's a bit much. Like I would rather have cash on me because I feel a little bit safer. Then if I don't have cash, then that's when I pull up the debit card. To have that attached to my cell phone, I'm not that comfortable yet. Like, nah, not yet. Somewhere down the future, if it has to go that route, sure, whatever. But as of right now, nah. Nah. So let me pick your brain for a minute. Is there any other cryptocurrency that you think it could be worth as much as Bitcoin?
You want my honest opinion?
Sure, go
Absolutely
for it.
Not. Bitcoin is and will be the only crypto to survive. There might be some other cryptocurrencies that come along for the ride, as there have been since 2010. But Bitcoin will be the forever asset of choice. It's been around. Everybody knows about it. You ask anybody on the street about, hey, do you invest in crypto? What are they going to say? Oh, you mean Bitcoin? Yeah, absolutely. It's just Bitcoin.
Yeah, I feel like Bitcoin has just become synonymous with cryptocurrency. Like how we just say, oh, put a Band-Aid on it, or can you just Google that? So
yep,
that's what Bitcoin has become.
Fair enough. I don't know. It is just like navigating through cryptocurrencies and just hearing other people's thoughts and ideas is like, okay, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about Bitcoin or even cryptocurrency as it is, period. And so just trying to get some kind of thinking around it and whatnot.
So do you know how the blockchain works?
I know nothing about blockchain.
So there's the currency side of things, which is Bitcoin, and then there is the contract side of things on how it actually works and how it gets produced. So you buy a certain amount of Bitcoin on an exchange. Okay, let's say you bought $10 worth of Bitcoin on an exchange. You decide to move that money, that Bitcoin, from the exchange to your wallet. As you do that process, you will move your Bitcoin from the market place that you bought it from to the miners. So it'll come into a pool of Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And in order to transact that Bitcoin to a wallet, it has to go through a process of trying to. So the miners, what they do is they have to create a mathematical problem to move all of that Bitcoin to all of the different wallets. Well, I'll just make it easy for you. So in order to do that, the GPUs, the ASICs, they all have to figure out the solution to the problem. And when they figure out the solution to the problem, it generates Bitcoin from that, which is the mining part, and then it moves to your wallet. So during that whole transaction, you have thousands and thousands of miners out there, and they all have like their certain amount of pools. So somebody that has a bigger amount of GPUs or a bigger amount of ASIC miners, they get a bigger part or a bigger portion of that Bitcoin that's mined. So that's how newly minted Bitcoin become available. And when that Bitcoin is mined, it gets sent to the miners themselves. That's why it doesn't just get like pushed out to the market. So usually when Bitcoin loses value as far as dollars go, it's when miners are actually selling off that Bitcoin for money to pay for the energy costs. That's why you always hear, well, where does the Bitcoin come from? How is it getting pushed out to the ecosystem? That's how it's created.
So,
Go ahead.
I guess to try to reiterate, so people, what was that A word that they?
ASIC miners?
Yes, ASIC miners.
ASICs, yeah.
Like the shoe brand ASIC?
No, aren't those basics?
No, it's ASIC.
Are they ASICs? Okay.
Yeah.
ASIC miners are just like a souped up GPU. They have multiple GPUs inside of one box. It's an ASIC miner.
Okay, that's cool to have the same thing. But okay, so ASIC miners mine Bitcoin. So mining is like, what exactly is mining? It's like fixing issues or creating some sort of.
It's finding a solution to a mathematical problem.
Right. And so a lot of these souped up GPUs are finding solutions to mathematical problems, and that generates a Bitcoin.
Yeah, that generates Bitcoins. Yep.
That generates Bitcoin. And then the miners essentially trade in the pieces of the Bitcoin for money so they can pay themselves.
Yeah, they essentially pay themselves to keep the lights running, the energy going. A lot of miners nowadays are moving to more natural resources, as far as like water, creating energy from water, solar, wind. So they like to keep their Bitcoin instead of selling it on the market now, because they know that Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot more in the future, and they don't want to sell it to keep the lights running. So they switch to more natural forms of energy.
Gotcha, because that would be cheaper on them. So these ASIC miners, these GPU systems require a lot of energy.
A lot.
So yeah, because I think like I want to say it's in Iceland. They have giant buildings just full of computer servers and processors just mining. I want to say they were mining Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can definitely believe that. What else was I? How does one mine Bitcoin? Like, let's say I wanted to, take my pickaxe of a GPU system and start mining Bitcoin. How would I go about doing that?
If you wanted to do it, it'd probably cost you a lot more money than you'd be able to mine the Bitcoin. Nowadays, it's more, I don't want to say institutionalized, but it's big players. So you would never become profitable with your GPUs mining Bitcoin. Now, if you wanted to mine something smaller and then get it traded to Bitcoin, you could mine Ethereum Classic, any of the smaller market cap coins in order to trade it to Bitcoin, and you become profitable pretty soon. But as far as like buying the materials to mine and then getting the Bitcoin back to pay for that, it'd take you a long time. That's why you see those big buildings full of ASIC miners, because it takes that much hardware just to create the Bitcoin.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think my little MacBook Air would do the prices explode.
Absolutely. But I wish I could too. I became non-profitable in 2017, so I wasn't able to create enough Bitcoin to actually pay for the energy cost and to pay back for the mining equipment that I had. So I couldn't do that anymore either.
Okay.
Wow.
And it might be the same thing I'll mention, but definitely some Scandinavian country where they had like literal like caves almost, like these naturally cooled areas where they could cool their computers easier, right? So it was cheaper, and I thought that was really interesting. I don't remember what the mining pool was, the name of it was, but I did see that, and I was like, wow, people are really getting creative. I didn't know about the natural resources because I haven't touched the crypto space as much as back in like 2017, 18, when I kind of first started buying stuff.
Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Do you feel that with this definite push for like going green, you know, like electric cars, electric vehicles, electric everything, or just you know, non-petroleum, non-gas, do you feel that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies help pushing that like pushing that drive?
I mean, essentially on one side you say yes, but on the other side, no. As far as keeping things natural, earthwise, safe, not printing out dollars, yes. Bitcoin, absolutely the way. Going digital, digital money would be the way to go. As far as creating them Bitcoin, not the way to go. That's why a lot of mining pools are moving towards natural energy, natural ways of creating the Bitcoin, moving to water, solar, wind. But a lot of governing countries don't allow for big companies like that to create them Bitcoin because they know that they can do it without paying a lot of money in electricity, and that would drive down the ways of them getting money to their country from oil. So they don't like using natural resources.
Okay.
There's a lot of governance when it comes to on the back end side when it comes to energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of energy. I never did the mining because that was a lot. But people had machines, and I remember whether it was in college dorms, which was kind of like cheating, where they had the little rig plugged in these black boxes. Some people might attempt to use their work, which might be a violation, but hey, YOLO. People were trying to do things to get around some of the energy costs. You even remember hearing a story of a guy in Kenya who basically quit his job and just built his own mining rig, and he was profitable. Granted, this might have been back in 2017 or 2018, but I was like, wow, people are really doing this.
Oh yeah. I've heard of people using like companies that they work for. They'll set up a rig in like their back office and like kind of block it off with like bookshelves so they can't see it and they can't hear it because it's a big manufacturing company, and they'll use their energy to mine not Bitcoin, of course, but like Ethereum Classic. And I mean, it's pretty profitable when you don't have to pay for any electricity.
That's true. So somebody asked a question earlier, like somebody named like Homework Help. He said, "Can you guys explain $UBI I think it's something that Scott Santos created, or he's kind of promoting.
Oh,
Yeah, like I forgot what it was on. It was like the Unicoin network or something. I think that's what he said. I don't know. I know I'm not speaking correctly, but
Like as far as the coin is for UBI, like
yeah.
UB coin, it's just another cryptocurrency. I'm not entirely sure on what it does, what it's utilized for. A lot of off-chain cryptos that work on either Ethereum or Bitcoin. It's really just a side gig to make more money or Bitcoin. Most of these projects that they come out with for tokens and just other crypto, they always try to have a plan or a project. Like in 2017, a lot of cryptos came into the sphere because they know that people were paying for just random coins that they would hear, and everybody would just use it as a pump and dump. But so these coins would come onto the platform and they'd say, hey, we have a solution to your problem. We will sell you these coins and you can utilize them for this kind of thing that you need to be done. And everybody would just push all their money into it. And at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, they saw that coin go to zero because when they create these coins, most of the developers take a big portion of them coins because they can. And then when they see the price rise up so high, they pull the plug. They roll plug. They just take all that cash that's in there and they liquidate it so that your coin is worth nothing. That's what most of these tokens do. So that's why I don't kind of mess with any other token besides, obviously Bitcoin. That's it.
Okay, that's understandable. So it's like a cryptocurrency way of a pump and dump almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, I've heard about a lot of the pump and dumps. Like, I think Telegram was becoming popular. I remember using that for school-related stuff, actually, just for group chats. And then all of a sudden, people talked about groups on Telegram, where basically, yeah, and then all those Reddit threads as well, where people would be inflating the assets and then sell, of course. And a lot of people get screwed over, but then the initial people get rich. So I guess those were never meant to be real coins, but
right. There is some coins that have a purpose, and you can utilize them for good. A lot of countries don't like these tokens that I'm kind of gonna explain. So, like, there's a coin called Monero. Monero is a private network that you can exchange Monero on, obviously. So with Monero, when you send your Monero to another address, they have their own pool that you'll send your money to. It'll distribute from that pool and send it off to whatever address you're sending it to. So essentially, it is private. Countries don't like that, so that's why you don't see them on exchanges very much. Like, you can't just go on Coinbase and buy Monero because the US will definitely take advantage of that and call like Coinbase out on their act because they know that it's a privacy coin. So, countries don't really like privacy coins. Those are utilized essentially the correct way. If there was any other coin besides Bitcoin that we would be using, it'd be privacy coins.
Yeah, I know Cardano is another one that I think I've heard is big for privacy.
Mm-hmm.
That disclaimer, nothing is certain, but someone was telling me how that was supposed to go up from $1 to like 20. And I don't know what the reason is. I don't know if privacy is a big thing that's gonna become more like a priority, and so privacy related coins might shoot up. But
yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to anything besides Bitcoin, though, this is not financial advice, so don't take that. Don't at me, okay?
yeah.
Yes, we call that a disclaimer. So Crypto Joe is not a financial advisor in any way, shape, or form. Any decision that you do make is on your own risk, at your own responsibility.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. We ain't trying to get sued. Like I know we live in a suit happy country, in a suit happy time. We ain't got money like that. We just average Joes like everybody else. Just trying to pay bills and make it to the next day, and we ain't got time for no lawsuit. Nah.
Yep. Like I say, this ain't financial advice, but if you don't buy Bitcoin, I'll see you on the other side.
I think the funny thing is I have everything. Well, not everything, definitely. I have relatively few coins, but all the coins I have are like not Bitcoin. And I think I was given interesting advice. I should have actually messaged my friend to watch this, because he got me into those different coins in 2017. He was talking about, I think, Monero, Cardano, maybe Stellar was a big one. I won't list them all, but he got me, and of course Ethereum, which is a super popular one outside of Bitcoin. And I do wish that I had actually invested in Bitcoin proper. But I always heard like, Bitcoin, could fall, and it's the first one, sure, but look at all these other shiny ones. But I think the more that time has come, the more that Bitcoin has kind of proved itself. I mean, 50,000 is insane. And that was after multiple falls from like 19K down, 20 something K down. And now it's just here.
Yeah, a lot of people get scared about the price as well.
Yeah.
But like I say, it is distributed into 8 decimal points. So you don't have to purchase one Bitcoin. You can buy fractions of Bitcoins. I think $1 is equal to 1,600 Satoshi. So you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin in order to properly insert yourself into the asset. But that's also the thing that gets people scared, is fluctuations in price. But that is with any asset, any car, any product, anything. Milk yesterday probably wasn't $3.50, and today is $3.50, and tomorrow it could be $3.35. Anything and everything will fluctuate in price. It depends on the demand of that product. And with Bitcoin, with any asset that has a finite supply, it will increase in value. It is written. That it is what it is. And with Bitcoin, there is only 21 million that will ever be produced, which I think the last date on paper is supposed to be, I got to find that out. Hold on.
Oh God! Wait a second. This is really strange. I didn't even. Wow! I could have thought this was bad.
Let's not forget about the beers and the wines and the scotch and the whiskeys and the vodkas. We're not gonna forget about those either. Those probably fluctuated in value too as well.
So the last Bitcoin that'll be mined, on paper, it'll be 2140. But the way Bitcoin works, with it having every 4 years, that is not set in stone. So let's take a piece of dollar. If you split that in half, and then in half again, and half again, and half again, you could say that the last bit of that little piece of paper will be produced in 3 hours. But you can keep splitting that in halves. So it's not written in stone 2140, but that's what's written on paper. So
I didn't actually know what the date was. I actually assumed it was going to be relatively soon, like next few, I don't know, within a decade, next few decades. 2140.
2140 is the day, or that's the year that it'll be the last Bitcoin that we mined.
Wow. That's over 100 years.
Yeah.
It's quite a while from now. Yeah. And if the price is at 57,000 today, just imagine what the Bitcoin price will be in 2140. The price will be irrelevant in 2140. And I probably give it 10 years, the price of Bitcoin will be irrelevant. People will be using Bitcoin as a form of exchange.
Oh yeah. I can see that. I can see that.
So,
I don't know if we answered this one, Joe. I don't know if you answered this one, but Bad G posted that one in. And do you have any thoughts?
Yeah. So when it comes to NFTs, a lot of people think that NFTs are solely distributed on Ethereum. Doesn't have to be that way. NFTs can be created on any chain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. It really doesn't matter. As far as the energy it takes to create that, it really doesn't take anything. I can create a PNG within 2 seconds and throw it on the blockchain and have somebody pay for that token. That it's when you create something and put it on the blockchain is essentially called the token. You can create that yourself. As far as energy goes, doesn't take any more energy than what it takes to mine. It's just a code that's written on the blockchain. So Ethereum has its own set of ways that Ethereum works. It's called smart contracts. A lot of companies are starting to actually use that. The only reason they have smart contracts is, let's say you have a mortgage and a bank creates that mortgage paper, the documents, and it says in 30 years you will have this paid off. And instead of giving you a piece of paper that says, hey, this in 30 years will be yours, they can write it onto the blockchain or onto Ethereum smart contract, and they will say, hey, in 30 years, this house at this address will be this person's property after they paid it off, and it'll be written onto a smart contract so that in 30 years down the road, you lost that piece of paper, but instead you have it on a smart contract. It'll never get lost. It's always on that chain.
Nice.
But for, energy's sake, I'm not really sure what he means by it takes a lot of energy to create an NFT. It really doesn't take any more than just mining Bitcoin or moving Ethereum. It's all the same.
Okay. Okay.
Do you think that NFTs are just the now shiny new thing to grab everyone's attention and it's like a quick money grab for some?
Yes.
Okay.
In my opinion, yes, absolutely. I mean, it's good for creators.
Right.
It actually shows that art can be appreciated because, most times when you create art, if you're not known, you won't be able to sell it. NFTs nowadays, anybody can create art and you will probably get it sold for a high amount. It's just because it's a fad.
Right. No, I was thinking of that. Like, I'm not that great of a designer, but I can definitely create something and just put it up there.
You should. Now's the time to do it.
True. Just get some awesome marketing skills. I'm like, oh, this new artist, she's important.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, you can make anything. I think who's the Twitter CEO?
Jack.
Yeah, Jack. He actually took a screenshot of his first ever post on Twitter and he sold it as an NFT for millions of dollars. So anything can be created as an NFT, but it's just a bunch of numbers created as a piece of or a picture on a smart contract. So that's all it is, really.
I saw the overly attached girlfriend meme. You remember her with like that?
She did sell that, didn't she?
Yeah, for like $400K. Like, she did it super well.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny. Go ahead, Joe.
No, it's just getting kind of blown up. But I mean, someday it might be used for a use case, like I said, as a mortgage contract. Putting that onto a smart contract, it'll be useful. But the pictures, I mean, I think it's just a way to get people introduced to NFTs, a non-fungible token.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say I was listening to a Korean radio station in my car, and one of the things that they said in conjunction to what Elle was saying was that somebody recorded him and his homies like passing gas, and they sold that for like quick cash. I'm like, really?
It's
Like,
insane, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, really? You guys just sat the phone next to your butt, farted, and you sold it as an NFT. Gas. I think they sold it for like $600, which is weird. Like, really?
That's the most expensive fart I've ever heard.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
Literally.
Times are changing.
wow, that is.
It's like
Yeah.
people just have all this money to just. I guess so. I guess people just have money to just be farting around.
I mean, people want something that nobody else has. So
Right.
if you can sell something that there's only been one created and one that ever will be created, then people will pay big money for it.
I'm not even gonna wrap my mind around that because, yeah, I'm not even gonna wrap my mind around that. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's a little insane. I mean, I wouldn't be spending that much money on a NFT, but a lot of people are getting rid of their Ethereum because that's the smart contracts that they're putting it onto. A lot of people are getting rid of their Ethereum to purchase these NFTs because they've been a part of the space since, let's say, 2015 or 2016, and they just want to offload it. But the biggest thing is when people get that Ethereum for their NFTs, they're moving it over to Bitcoin. So
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, that makes perfect sense. I mean,
Yeah.
it's worth more, so might as well.
Mhm. And so one of the biggest questions that I get when people ask me about it, like I think my parents asked me the same question. They were like, well, I've heard a lot about people using Bitcoin for illegal transactions. Not true. So I think the recent study came out that only 1% of transactions that go through Bitcoin are for illegal purchases. The dollar, on the other hand, 48% of all dollars are for illegal purchases, for drugs, prostitution, just laundering. The dollar is the easiest way to do that.
Oh,
Bitcoin, you cannot get off safe with Bitcoin. This is what governments don't understand. They do understand, but they're not taking it into account. Everything is written on the blockchain. Anything that you do, you send a transaction from A to B, it is written on the blockchain forever. You can't take that back. So they can always go back and look. That's why, I mean, they're trying to push for people to pay for their taxes in Bitcoin because it's always going to be written. And you can go back and take a look at, on this year, you paid this much in taxes. And it's not just on a piece of paper.
All of my questions look because I'm a proud American. You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
the dollar. I love it. I remember the Silk Road. It was a huge thing. So this is actually how kind of I knew of Bitcoin, and that was my impression. Now it's so far removed, I don't think about it anymore. But back in like 2014, 13, when you had the Silk Road and that whole like transactions of, like you said, prostitutes, apparently even hitmen, that was disputed, but whatever. I remember hearing that. I was like, dang, this thing is like wild. Like, people just had digital currencies to pay for drugs and hookers and hitmen. I was like, this is wild. But It's interesting to see the numbers because I didn't actually know the illicitness, especially now that Bitcoin has become much more, in some ways, mainstream. I mean, freaking Jack Dorsey has that in his like bio, I'm pretty sure. Hashtag Bitcoin. Elon Musk obviously talks about it all the time. So this isn't just some fringe thing. Some of the richest people, at least, if not the most powerful in the world, are talking about Bitcoin. And I mean, can you do something sketchy? Maybe, but at this point, the purpose is.
Yeah, there's a way to launder Bitcoin. I mean, kind of. You can put it into like a tumbler and move your Bitcoin into a big pool of Bitcoin, and then that Bitcoin gets pushed out to other people. But if you dig hard enough, you can find where that Bitcoin came from, which is why a lot of people in the crypto space do not use Bitcoin to do their illegal transactions. They use the dollar. It's the easiest and safest way to get around the government. People don't understand that.
Oh yeah, I mean,
backed by the government. Fiat.
Our own cash is the easiest way to get around the government.
Even banks launder money. It's the strangest thing, but you never hear about it.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah. It's funny because I used to work at a bank, so like, oh, it happens. Oh, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Ask no questions like, where did this dollar come from? Where did this $10 bill come from? Where did this $100 bill come from? Like, we don't ask that. We get your money, put it in our drawer, put it in your account, boom, you out of there. Or if you need to take some money out, we give you the money out, everything else. Boom. You know, we know that it's the most dirtiest thing in human history. So it's like gross. But yeah.
I think I heard a fact about $100 bills. I mean, there's a really high percentage of $100 bills that have a trace amount of cocaine on it. If that ain't something that just deters you away from the dollar, then I don't know what does.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, that is so true. Oh yeah,
that is true.
That's true.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's good. Banks also use their money to trade in money markets. That's funny.
That is true. So when you put your money into a bank, that's not your money anymore. That is the bank's money. And they just give you a piece of paper that says this is an IOU. So they use your money to push out to people that get loans, that just go into debt. A lot of people don't understand that either, how money gets created into the ecosystem. So when you go and purchase a mortgage and you pull out a certain amount of cash, the bank takes the money that's in savings accounts, uses that, and when they use that, they get that money back as a transaction to refund their amount. So essentially, you get that money, that $10,000 that you took out is yours. And now they just get $10,000 to put back in the bank to recuperate that money that they gave you. So now you have $20,000 in the ecosystem. A lot of people don't understand that either.
I remember when I was getting into crypto, because there was so much going on. There was a lot of moving parts in like fall 2017. And I remember my one friend who was basically wanting me to help him write some stuff. I guess to like use Solidity, I think was the language, to like do some blockchain stuff. I don't really remember what the coin was, but in any case, he was talking about how, like, you know, what happens with money, like why do banks only allow you to take a certain amount out at the ATM? And me, my naive self, I mean, I was like, yeah, you know, because anything above like 10,000 or above some amount could be used for illegal activity. And he's like, no. He's like, no, they don't have the money. They do not have more than that guaranteed per person, because they're doing all kinds of stuff with the money. So it's interesting that, like, basically he was trying to say, like, yo, this whole money, this whole fiat government-backed money is going to come crashing down, and we got to get into the crypto space. And I mean, he was talking to me like real talk, because this guy went to my high school. He was like, you know, we're Black. We don't hear things like this talked about in our communities at all. So just knowing stuff like this puts you at the top.
Toby?
Toby.
Oh, it did just mute for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, if that was the whole time, that would just be.
I wasn't sure. I was like, did he just take a bite of food and just stop abruptly?
No, I wasn't. I didn't even realize I hit that. I don't even know what happened.
Oh,
it must have been
wow.
the touchpad. Thank you. No, I was just saying that I don't know what's gone since then, but I think it's really interesting that there's actual constraints on these banks. And that's a big reason why my friend was like, we need to get to crypto space like ASAP.
Yeah, so funny story about that. I took a little bit out of my Bitcoin to purchase my wife's dream car. And so I transferred over $25,000 worth of Bitcoin to my bank account, got it wired over. And I called the bank and I was like, hey, I'll be coming in there tomorrow to pull out 25,000. Because I need to purchase something. I don't need to tell you what I'm purchasing. It's my money, this and that. They're like, okay, yeah, no problem. That's fine. Go ahead and come in tomorrow and we'll give you that 25,000. I said, okay, perfect. I didn't give them my name. I didn't give them my phone number. I didn't give them nothing. About an hour later, I get a phone call and it's the bank. And I'm like, hello? And they're like, hi, is this Joey? I was like, yeah, it is. And they're like, hi, this is so-and-so bank. We're just calling you to ask if you wanted to withdraw $25,000. I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll be in there tomorrow. And they're like, unfortunately, we don't have that type of money at our bank. I said, really? They're like, yeah, you're going to have to go to this bank. We'll have to transfer some of our money over to that bank in order for you to withdraw that. I said, that's really strange because let's say 4 people want to take out $5,000 because they need to renovate something. You're saying that you won't have that type of cash in your bank to give the people their own money? It's not something I want to be a part of.
Yeah, that money stuff.
That's facts.
So you just went to a completely different bank. Like, let's say you were on, I don't know, like T Ameritrade, and then you went to like BB&T or something.
I actually had to go to 2 separate. Well, they're the same bank, but I had to go to 2 separate branches in order to get the amount that I wanted out, which is it's a little off because if something happens to your dollar, that's your own money, correct? You want to get that out. So if everybody knew about that and they wanted to take out their own cash from their bank, there's no way you would ever get that kind of money out.
But it's crazy because you gave them a day's notice.
Yeah, they said they were actually running low that week on money,
Okay.
which really deterred me from the bank too. I've since then switched banks. I mean,
Okay.
no way am I going to keep money at a bank that they don't even have the funds to supply me with that money. No way.
That's facts. I got stories about that one. Oh, I got stories about that one. I can relate. Oh yeah, there's been times where working at a bank and we ran out of money, and they're like, "What kind of bank runs out of money?" I'm like, "A ghetto one, like a ghetto one, like
Ghetto Fabulous Bank.
yeah." And they're like, really, like, yeah. If you want to pull out, we'll use Joe's example. If you want to pull out like 25 stacks, like we don't have it here, but the main bank downtown, they for sure they got it. And if they don't got it, then there's another branch clear across town. They got it, and if they don't got it, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
yeah, your money is essentially just a made up number on a screen.
oh yeah,
I mean, the money that you don't have in your hand, that is just a number on the computer. That's all it is. And they can create more and more and more and more. So when you hear about the money printer go burr, it's actually the typewriter goes click, because that's all they have to do is just type in a number and it just gets pushed out to their bank.
man. remember getting cussed out because we ran out of money. That was hilarious. I'm like, what do you expect? Like, everybody is getting thousands upon thousands of dollars at the same time. Like, oh well. Like, sorry, but not sorry. And then we had our delivery come in, and he kind of looked around like, what's going on? Like, we ain't got no money. We need money. Like, oh, okay, well, here you go. Sure. As soon as it came in, it went right back out. So we're like, hey, we're tapped. We can't do nothing today. I was contemplating, like, hey, can we shut the bank down for like a bank holiday just because, you know?
Nondescript bank holiday.
Yes. No.
I feel bad for that robber who's like, oh, give me all the money. He's like, we don't have any, actually.
Like,
Well,
what
just
bank does-
transfer it over to my account through your phone. Then I'll take it.
Sure. You know.
The government is getting kind of smart though. They actually sent out a lot of debit cards this time instead of actual cash to your bank account, so that you have to spend it and not spend it on like crypto or anything. You can't just take it from your bank and transfer it over to Bitcoin. They actually sent out debit cards that you have to spend it at like Walmart, or you can't save it. They're getting smart.
That's
Oh
true.
yeah. Oh yeah, I believe it.
I feel like every second my bank is just sending me a debit card. It's like, oh, we think that you might have been hacked, possibly. So here's a bank card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You thought about calling us? Here's a bank card.
Right. Like, okay. You know. As long as I'm still able to get my money out, that's all it better do.
It's aggravating when I have to change the number on, like all my subscriptions and everything. I'm like, oh my God.
That's the worst. That's the worst. I had to do that once. Had my account hacked for whatever unforsaken reason. Had to go through and change everything. I'm like, why? Sucks.
Mm.
Oh well. Learn that lesson not to go and do that again. So yeah.
We stay away from those sketchy things that cause that to happen.
It was crazy. I used it at a gas station. That was the craziest thing about it. I used it at a gas station. Like, really? You mean to tell me I can't go get gas because there's a possibility my debit card might get hacked? I'm like, just give me cash. Like, let me at least carry some cash, so I ain't got to worry about that. Like, that's ridiculous.
No, it's true. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I still buy at the pump, but it's best to go into the little store.
I always buy
Man.
at the pump, but when was this around? What year is this?
This is 2021. This is about just over 3 years ago. Just over 3 years ago. So about 2017, 2018.
Perfect. We gotta digitize our episodes.
Absolutely, we can put that. We can put that as an NFT.
It's true. I
Oh.
think it's good enough.
Oh,
Ish.
I mean,
But no.
yeah, that's funny. That's funny, yeah. And even then, like I said, it was weird because not only did it happen to me, but there was a guy at my bank that was going through the same thing, and we called him up like, hey, we noticed something weird happening on your account. What's up? Like, were you at any point within the last week in Chicago by any chance? Like, no. Like, okay, so you weren't in Chicago, so did you not go to like a Walmart in, let's say, Gurnee, Illinois? No. Why? Well, your debit card has been compromised. And he was like, I haven't gone anywhere. Like he said, the only place I've been to was the 7-Eleven. Like he's like, that's it. I have not gone anywhere. Did you use the pay at the pump? He was like, no, I was inside, like at the register. He's like, yeah. And so, it was a huge mess. It was a huge mess. Huge mess. And I think when I got hacked, I had used my card at the pump. You know, everything on my end looked good and kosher and everything else. Nope. Came back, looked like I got a charge, and luckily the bank called me like, hey, have you been to we'll say what's a good one? Have you been in Ohio? Like, no, I haven't been in Ohio. I've been in Michigan like the whole time. Like, what were we doing in Ohio? Like, did you spend like $50 at a Walmart in Ohio? No. But I saw
I like to go to Walmart.
Like I see a charge for $50 at a Walmart that I have no clue. So what's going on? Oh, your debit card got hacked. I'm like,
Wonderful.
Like really, like thank you, gas station.
That's another good thing about Bitcoin is it's permissionless. So there's no, hey, I want to send you this amount of money from this bank to this bank, and the bank has to agree to that. They have to say, okay, yeah, for sure, we'll send this $50 from our bank to this person's bank. Bitcoin's just permissionless. If I want to send you $50 worth of Bitcoin, I can send you $50 worth of Bitcoin, no matter where you at, the time of the day. It's 24/7, 365, always open. I can send you Bitcoin within 10 minutes. There's no permissions to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, all these little rules that you just sort of, accept as the norm, and because like we don't know any better. It's just like, oh, I can only transfer money between these hours because that's what they say, and that's just what I got to do. And you never really think like, why though? What is the point? Why are you trying to control and regulate my money when it's mine?
Quote unquote.
It's because they know they can and they will.
Right. It's disgusting.
It's upsetting.
Very much.
It's not something you think about much, but when you do realize the power they have and kind of how things will and really happen, like you're at the bottom tier basically. Like these people gamble away all our money and do all these things. We're just kind of players in the machine.
Yeah, your money is not your money. Your money is the government and the bank's money. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So with Bitcoin, your money is your money. Your Bitcoin is your Bitcoin.
100% Bitcoin changes that.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, ugh.
I just feel like I don't have money.
Well, I got $20. Now I don't know if that counts. Like I got $20 in cash. That's about it.
Is it worth $20? That's the
Heck
thing.
no. It's not worth $20. It's like worth pennies. Like
Your dollar
No.
can buy a lot less now.
Wow.
This is true.
Yeah, true. That is true.
This is true.
I remember the other day on Twitter, somebody said $100 is like $20. I was like, it's true.
Today, yeah, for sure.
Man, I remember. I think I was talking to my kids, and we were talking about something. I told them, like, man, I remember me and my brother, we scrounged up like $2 worth of pennies. Don't ask how we managed to do this, but we managed to scrounge up $2 worth of pennies. Between the both of us, we went to the corner store, and we managed to get like 3 bags of chips apiece, some bubble tape, 2, like I had one, he had one, and like a drink, and it was all came out to like $2. I'm like, you try to do that now, you can be paying at least a good $2 just for the small bag of chips. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah, like money has the value of money has gone down so much is ridiculous.
Yeah, I was
It's-
just telling my buddy about that. How I used to be able to buy a bag of chips, a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos for 99 cents.
Yeah.
Can't do that no more. It's $1.29 now,
That is true. Yeah.
and it's a lot smaller.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I always see it as the price of things going up, but I never really thought of, the dollar itself is going down in value. Like-
Yep. Prices aren't going up. Your dollar is just worth less.
Wow. Jeez. I never really
Oh yeah.
spun it on its head like that.
Man.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why like more and more people they are what? The Bank of Dave. Like, yeah, I'm gonna shop at Dave. I'm gonna do my banking at Dave's Bank. Like,
And there's like a kid in I think Brazil who created a bank. I think he was the youngest person to ever create a bank. I think it's Brazil. It was kind of interesting because you think that creating a bank is like some really difficult, hard thing, but literally all of us could create a bank if we wanted.
Absolutely. With Bitcoin, you can be your own bank.
boom. That's true.
Be
That is
your
so-
own bank.
That is so true. And it's like, man, had I got into the game early enough, like, yep, would have been able to do that easy. But now,
Hey, we're just getting started. Bitcoin's fairly really new. How long has gold been around?
Gold
a
been-
long time, and it's still relevant. Bitcoin has only been around for 11 years.
yeah,
We got plenty of space to run.
man.
So you think that, in your opinion, in your non-financial advice opinion,
Disclaimer.
yes, do you feel that we should all just be putting just money towards Bitcoin?
I mean, in my own opinion, do you want to hear what I put into Bitcoin?
Sure.
So every week, I'll get a paycheck, and I will put 75% of that money into Bitcoin.
Wow.
Everything else is just directly to bills, whatever needs to be paid for. Mortgage, bills, food. That's it. Everything else goes directly into Bitcoin.
So you use Bitcoin as your bank, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. Yep, as my savings account.
Okay.
That's actually a smart idea.
Yeah.
I think I
That's
would have
really
to-
no. That's my cousin, y'all. Forgive him.
your cousin.
Like seriously, like no legit. Like, yeah, Yeshua. He very well could be my cousin, like blood cousin.
Really?
Oh yeah.
If
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
wants, if everybody wants to know the easiest way to just get Sats for free, just go ahead and download the Fold app. If you look up the Fold app, you can actually use the dollars to purchase everything that you'd usually purchase. They have things for like Amazon.com. You can buy gift cards through Amazon.com, Bass Pro Shops, Bed Bath & Beyond, and they'll give you a percentage back in Bitcoin. On top of that, they also have a daily spin that you can do every day at a certain time. You click that spin button, it'll spin, and you can land on 100, a million, 10 sats, and you just keep accumulating that way. It's free and easy.
There's also another. It's like a Chrome extension, but I think it's also an app for Apple users. It's called Lolly.
Yeah, Lolly does the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, I've been using Lolly to whenever I buy like CBD oil, like CBD gummies.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's one for like just CBD, and it's like, oh, I could use this and get like 18% or 20%.
Of your cash in Bitcoin. Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's pretty dope.
If you're gonna spend it, why not?
Yeah, exactly. If they're just gonna give it to me for free, I'm like, all right, I won't question it.
Yeah, so if you download the Fold app, I think it's on iOS and Android. Just download it. I don't even think you need to create an account. You might have to put in your email just so that they know that you're a legit person.
Mhm.
But every day you can spin a wheel and you can land on, I think nowadays it's like 1, 5, 10, 100, a million Satoshi. Before I was able to get like 200, 300, 400 Satoshi, but it's irrelevant now because if you were able to still get that amount, you'd be making a lot of money off that Fold app.
Okay, so it's
FOLD Fold.
yeah. So it looks like this. I'm assuming.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Hosting.
Yeah. Full
Link.
Bitcoin cashback rewards. Okay, I'll install it.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to stack sats, as we say.
Okay, and so for those that don't know, Satoshis or sats are like what a Bitcoin is created of, right? It's like what a Bitcoin is made of. You have to have like a million or a billion sats that and that equates to a Bitcoin. Okay.
Yeah, 100 million Satoshis is one Bitcoin.
Okay.
So you could just say Satoshis is like the penny.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. So that's question. This is something I was thinking of, and I just didn't get to ask. Was sort of going back to the basics. What's the actual? Because we've heard a lot of great things about Bitcoin in general. But if someone's like just trying to get started,
Everybody good? We good?
Yeah, I'm good. I just fell off for a second.
I think we all did.
Yeah. So Fold is good. There's that Lolly extension. I actually need to look for that. But when it just comes to like buying Bitcoin, what was kind of the first things that you used, and what I guess are some of the better platforms now? And I've also heard people talk about the difference between like holding and actually trading. I know you're big on like holding Bitcoin, but I know I've heard differences between like Coinbase and some of the others like Coinbase Pro, Binance, in terms of holding versus actually trying to trade. So I'm curious on sort of your evolution.
There's a whole lot of platforms you can get onto to purchase Bitcoin, trade Bitcoin, etc. There's like Cash App. If you download the Cash App, they have a Bitcoin portion on there. Really easy, simple way to purchase Bitcoin. You just link your bank or your debit card onto it, and you can automatically buy Bitcoin with it. It has its own wallet, so you can send it on and off. Very simple. I don't recommend buying any Bitcoin, crypto, etc. on like Robinhood. They don't have a custody. So when people say that they have Bitcoin on Robinhood, they don't have Bitcoin on Robinhood. On Robinhood, it's basically just saying, hey, buy Bitcoin at this price, and it'll either go up or go down in value, but you can't actually take that crypto off and put it onto your own wallet. So I do not recommend using Robinhood as a form of buying Bitcoin. There's other apps. Coinbase, yeah, Coinbase is a good one. There's a lot of KYC involved with that. I don't really 100% agree with taking the front and back of your license just for somebody to purchase Bitcoin. Cash App doesn't do that. I mean, it does make sure that you're a real person and that you actually have a bank account. So that's the only reason that they ask for that. Other platforms are like Gemini. You can use Gemini. There's BlockFi. BlockFi actually gives you money back, APY, on your Bitcoin or any other crypto that you have in that account. I also don't really recommend using it as an interest-bearing account for your crypto because you don't actually hold on to the crypto. They hold on to it for you. So anything could happen with that. They could just poof and go away the next day and you don't have that Bitcoin anymore. Another one, like FTX US. That's a new one that just came onto the scene. It's a new marketplace that you can purchase Bitcoin on. All these that I'm saying, it's just a way for you to purchase Bitcoin. When you do purchase Bitcoin, you're gonna want to take it off that exchange and move it onto your own self-custody wallet. There's plenty of wallets out there. Exodus is a good one that was actually made in Omaha, Nebraska. The CEO is from there. Ledger, you can buy and hold onto a physical wallet that you can send all your Bitcoin to. That way you know that you have it in your hand and it's not just gonna go away. There's a Trezor wallet. Those are two great wallets, Ledger and Trezor. All of this you can look up on Google. It'll show you. If you do purchase a physical wallet, do not purchase it on like Amazon, on eBay, this and that, because we can dig really far into this rabbit hole. But when you create a wallet, it'll give you a seed phrase, kind of like a password that only that wallet has. It'll be like a 12-word seed phrase. And when you write that down, you do not want to lose that, because that is the backup to your wallet if you ever lose your password. So don't purchase it from like eBay or Amazon, because somebody could maliciously steal that backup phrase and then sell you that hardware wallet, and you could be putting money or putting Bitcoin on there for years and years. Then all of a sudden you look on there one day and it's gone because they have your backup seed phrase. So always purchase it directly from Ledger or from Trezor if you purchase a physical wallet. But always have your own wallet on either your phone as a hardware wallet. That way you can send the Bitcoin that you purchase on Coinbase or whatever other exchange directly to your wallet. That way you know that it's yours, you have it, and you self-custody it. That's the whole background thesis on why Bitcoin is for you to be your own bank. So don't let any exchange self-custody your Bitcoin for you. As far as trading goes, me myself, I tried that for 2016, 2017, and let me tell you, if I wasn't trading during that time, I would have 3 times as much Bitcoin as I do now. It was just a form of losing money, because there's always a buyer and there's always a seller. And when you sell it and you purchase something else or you try to profit from it, people are a lot smarter than you. And nowadays there's trading bots on all these exchanges that they know the psychology, all the charts. They know exactly who's going to be selling, why they're going to be selling. If it dumps, you're going to just be scared and sell it, and they're going to purchase that Bitcoin. So as far as trading goes, do your own research. If you want to trade, that's cool. Just have like a little set amount. Like, let's say you just $100 off to the side, trade with that. But everything else, just hold on to it. Just like gold and silver, you wouldn't want to be just like trying to buy the dip and try to sell it at a higher price and then sell it and try to buy back lower. Just, it doesn't work.
Okay.
What happens when all the Bitcoin is mined? All the Bitcoin is mined. That's
Game over.
then that's that. I am from Nebraska, yes.
There you go. This is good info. Oh yeah.
But yeah, we don't really know what's going to happen when all the Bitcoin is mined. I mean, by that point, it's just going to be a global backed currency, or a backed currency or a backed asset for the currency that the nation has. I mean, eventually we're just going to have a global currency. It's just inevitable. It's going to happen. In my opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Too far down the road for any of us to really think about right now.
Yeah.
The dollar is collapsing, so
True. And even then, it's like with most currencies, around the world, they're experiencing the same thing. Not saying that all of them, just majority of them are. And so having a global currency system, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. If it's around while we're still around, yeesh.
yeah, I think it'll solve a lot of problems. A global currency, it would solve a lot of issues when it comes to like poverty, like in other nations, because a lot of nations they use the US dollar as like their denomination for their own dollar. And when you have a billion Zimbabwe dollars and it's only worth 34 cents in the US terms, then I mean that money is worthless essentially. So if we had a global currency, a lot of people would be able to make a certain amount and they would not be in poverty because their nation says that their money is worthless. So it would solve a lot of issues. Can a global currency create issues? Absolutely.
I guess maybe some of the same issues that we already see now with, I guess, with robbing and stealing, because even if we're all our own banks, you see how banks, can go on and not have any money. So I assume that could be one.
Yeah, it could create issues as far as like trading goes. Let's say China and the US are trading and China says, well, you know what? We're going to cut off all trading from the US. Essentially, the global currency could go down because nobody is making a transaction from point A to point B. And now the product that's going from China to US or US to China can't be distributed properly. So the global currency would be worth less because of that. Because it could be more because of that. Let's say you want this certain TV and it cost $500 in global currency, but now you can't get that TV. So a supply demand problem gets created, and now that TV is worth $700 because people are wanting to pay that much for it. So China could be like, okay, we'll give it to you for $700 a television, and now your global dollar just became less valuable because it costs more to purchase a product. It could create issues, but it would benefit to have one. It would solve a lot of issues. There's just a lot to wrap your head around.
Can dollar collapse all the way if it's the global currency reserve?
No. And that's the reason the US has a lot of power, is because they know that they can create more and more of the US dollar and it not inflate to Mars, because they know that other countries use it as the reserve. And that's why it's a fraud. It's a scam. Because the government knows that they can just create as much as they want and nobody's going to do anything about it.
That's grimy.
Like all that debt that we have outstanding to these countries that are never going to call it in or whatever.
They will never get it.
Yeah. Reminds me of some guy that could get away with a lot. Sweet, smooth talker that was able to get a lot of money, but at the same time, that same smooth talker was also the same one that shows, I don't have any money. I'm broke. Like, yeah, sounds legit. Not name dropping anything else, but
I was gonna say, oh yeah. So I was thinking like Zimbabwe. I mean, I think I've thought about these kind of applications a lot since my own family I mean, I'm not from that part. My family is Nigerian, but still African. Like, I remember hearing about Zimbabwe and how like they basically had to adopt the yuan because of like the problems that you're talking about. The hyper doesn't even describe how bad the inflation was. And I think there's some other countries that basically China was trying to come in and do some stuff, right? And that's a whole different conversation about neocolonialism. But I remember how, yeah, like these countries basically will adopt China's currency and do business with China, take these loans that will never have to be paid back. But essentially, they're like submissive to these countries. And I guess if you did have something like I don't know how the governments would work per se with like having crypto, like because most of that's for us, right? Us, we the people. So I don't know quite how the actual governments would decide to like take on that currency, but at least people in these countries could not have to depend on their useless currency, basically. And yeah, I've always kind of thought of that, as well as transferring money, because you use Western Union, which is a horrifically just horrifically large fees to transfer. I've seen like my parents do it, other people do it, and there are people who are trying to create like applications. So this is more, I guess, software side, contracts especially, but contracts so that people like farmers or other people who provide services can get paid without losing so much money, like from people who are paying in the US. And you could use crypto with the very small transaction fees. So I've definitely seen some of these, like, you know, these benefits. Of course, there are always going to be problems, but I do think the benefits are pretty large for those who can wrap their heads around it, those who can like get access to the equipment or the technology, whatever. And not just African countries, but really anywhere where you have developing countries or where you have issues with government and currencies. So
Yeah, it would definitely create a lot of issues with smaller companies and bigger companies alike, like MoneyGram or whatever. They charge what, like $20 to send a certain amount to a different country, when I can send $100 to somebody in China for less than a couple pennies with Bitcoin. So it would probably shut a lot of those companies down. That's why governments really don't want crypto to just take off, because they know that it'd be borderless and individuals could send their own money from yourself to somebody else for pennies on the thousands of dollars. Simply, easily. They don't want that to happen.
now I know I was hearing, and this gets a little bit in the weeds, but I know like with the proof of work, right? That's the way that you sort of, I guess, verify Bitcoin or the blockchain transactions. And kind of like you said, the hard math problems. And I know that there were some other cryptocurrencies that did like proof of stake, and there was like delegated proof of stake and all these things. So there were people who were basically saying Bitcoin, and I know you've of course said a million times that Bitcoin is the one true one. It'll keep taking off. But I know some people were concerned that proof of work was untenable just because of how much computational power it takes to solve some of these problems, and it wasn't going to be scalable, or it wasn't going to be tenable or something. And so they were saying that they might have to look at other types of coins that use proof of stake or a different type of, validation. I don't know how you feel about that. Like, I know Bitcoin has had a few forks, and I don't really understand fully how that stuff has worked, like Bitcoin Classic, Bitcoin whatever. So I don't know if some of those forks use a different type of verification that is, I guess, not as computationally and environmentally hard, or does it not even matter? If that makes sense.
So a fork is essentially a certain percentage of the global miners saying that they want something to happen as far as like the way that something is mined or the way it works to happen rather than the way it's working now. So if 51% of the miners say they agree on the way it works this way, then it forks off, because not more than 50% agree on this way that the transactions are going. So when that happens, yeah, they can have their own way of transactions, proof of stake, proof of work. and that's totally fine. Proof of work is, in a lot of people's opinions, the best way to do it. It shows that the amount of work it takes to create an asset needs to be that way. You don't want somebody like, I'm sure you've heard of the supercomputers that Google is making. Everybody's always like, well, that computer can create a Bitcoin faster than all these other miners can create it. True, but it's not going to happen, because if that happens, then everybody else that's on that system will have to be the same amount as that supercomputer. If it's not, then that supercomputer will be kicked off because nobody else is able to create that amount. And you want proof of work to happen because you want it to be distributed. You don't want one central location to be creating all of the Bitcoin at once, or else you don't have a distributed network. You want a distributed network. That way, if one of the miners go down, you still have a way of transacting your Bitcoin. It's just like, let's say you want to eat at Pizza Hut. If there's only one Pizza Hut in a location and you want pizza, and that Pizza Hut's power goes out and you can't get pizza, then you're going to be SOL. That's why you have multiple Pizza Huts in one area. That way, if that one's down, you can go to another one. That's the way that proof of work works as far as transactions go. Nobody wants a central location of where all your transactions go to. So proof of work means that everybody's on the same page, doing the same thing with the certain amount of machines and power. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's never going to happen to where one central entity has more power than everybody else and create more Bitcoin. It just doesn't work that way.
Interesting. I didn't really think about the whole decentralized. Like, I know a big thing was how, you can't double spend, you can't sort of fraud the network because at least 50% of all the active, I guess, nodes on the network are supposed to verify every new kind of transaction, every new mining, and then it's validated and it's cool. But I didn't sort of realize that I guess you don't want one node to have more than 50% of, I guess, the coins or something, or whatever the math is, where they kick it off. I didn't really realize that in particular as well, but that's really interesting.
Yeah, you want a whole lot of different nodes and miners helping out the ecosystem. That way, if one miner goes down, they can look back on the 25,000 other locations and miners and look back on the past blockchain and say, oh yeah, that's correct. We'll keep going from all the other ones instead of this one because this one's false. So you can never double spin, create a false transaction, because if yours says something different than all the other ones, yours will be kicked off until it's processed the same way as all the other ones. That's why it's so beautiful to have a system like this where they can look back on other transactions and say, oh yeah, that's correct. We'll keep going from all the other ones instead of this one that we just forked off from. So that's usually where forks come from, is somebody not cooperating with the rest of them, and they branch off and create their own side chain.
Wow. Okay.
Is that what Ethereum Classic did with Ethereum?
Yeah, absolutely. That's so they wanted to make Ethereum faster, quicker, have more blocks in less time. And Ethereum at the time, 51% or more said, no, we don't want that. And the other percentage says, well, we want to stay exactly the way that we are. There's nothing wrong with it. So that's how they branched off. So it's totally fine. No big deal. If you want to stay with Ethereum Classic and mine that way and transact that way, totally fine. If you want to go to the new system, then you'll just switch your processing to the new way it kind of makes it more profitable for the like Ethereum Classic, because it takes a different amount of processing power to create Ethereum Classic than it does Ethereum, because Ethereum wants a quicker, faster, more powerful way of creating their digital economy. So you need more GPUs to process Ethereum than Ethereum Classic. So a lot of people like when forks happen because it takes less processing power from your GPU to mine that specific crypto. Essentially, a lot of people I used to do the same thing. I used to mine Ethereum, and then as soon as I got a profitable amount, I would move it over to an exchange and swap it for Bitcoin, and then move that Bitcoin back. A lot of miners do that.
Nice. So, talking about this or thinking about this, somebody in the chat asked about
Dogecoin.
Dogecoin. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know.
Doge, yes.
Yeah. So, what's up with Doge? What's up with Dogecoin? And is it something worth mining?
So Bitcoin, when it gets created, so the original creator of Dogecoin just made it to be like a smaller way of transacting. Like, let's say on Twitter, you want to fund somebody a certain amount of money because you like their post. He made it so that it's quicker, faster, easier, and less expensive to do that. So he created a side chain from Bitcoin, which is easily able to do. And it's created from basically Bitcoin mining. There's an infinite supply, which is why I say do not invest your money into Dogecoin, because it's just like the dollar. It's just infinitely created out of thin air, and there's no cap to the amount of Dogecoin that's created. It was meant to be a small token of appreciation to anybody that you liked in the quickest and easiest way. Dogecoin, it essentially gets hyped every time that Bitcoin goes up in value, because it's a lot less expensive and people like that. But they don't understand that there's an infinite supply of Dogecoin that will be created. So they kind of just go for the meme when it comes to Dogecoin. They're like, oh yeah, to the moon, Dogecoin, pump it. I personally, I don't invest in Dogecoin.
There you go. So,
do you think there could ever be a moment where there won't be an infinite amount of Dogecoin, like if they have the halvening like Bitcoin does, or something?
No, because it's programmed into the mining algorithm that there's an infinite supply.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
This guy is in 3021 while we're all in 2021.
Yeah.
This guy's in 2140 actually.
But y'all need to sit back and watch. Watch what's going to happen. It's going to blow your mind. I've already seen it. Already been there. It's not going to look good, but just stick around. You'll see it. Like, okay, we got you.
It'll happen. Just wait. You'll be there.
Awesome.
I mean, I own Dogecoins. Like, I was sort of in the hype just to see, like, hey.
And actually, I don't like degrade it and say that it's worthless. It's actually useful. It gets a lot of new people into the space and shows them how to transact crypto. If you'd rather spend $10 on an asset and learn how to move that coin back and forth from wallets, instead of buying $100 or $500 worth of Bitcoin and sending it to somebody and losing all that money because you don't know how to do anything. So Doge is kind of worth it to learn how to use crypto. So I don't bash it all the time. I mean, it's good for what it's used for, and that's for just a meme coin to show other people how Bitcoin works.
I dig it. I think that is a good way. I'm gonna try it to, because I have like sats in, or like pieces of Bitcoin in Lolly, and then I have some pieces of Bitcoin in Coinbase, because when I signed up, they were like, "Oh, you got $5 of Bitcoin," and I was like, "All right, whatever." But funny enough, it's now worth like 8 something. I haven't put any more money into it, but
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
right, because I got the $5. I think it was January 30th of this year, and then now it's like $3 more. Like, that's insane. And it was just free money. They were like, "Sign up. Here's $5." I'm like, cool. But
And a lot of companies are stopping that whole thing because, if they just keep giving out free Satoshis, free Bitcoin to people, and they know that that's going to be worth a lot more in the future, they're not going to do that. So, I mean, if you can get free Satoshis, get it while you can.
okay. But no, this is a lot to think about. So I bought Dogecoin in my Robinhood, and that, I guess, from what you're telling me, was not wise, because Robinhood does something with the Bitcoin, with the cryptocurrency rather, and so am I incapable of moving it to my wallet?
As of now, you cannot move it off of that exchange. So essentially, they just put the price up, and you put your dollars into whatever the price says. And if it moves up or down, it just fluctuates with your dollars. So you can only sell the price to get your dollars back. You can't move that off.
Gotcha.
Very, very terrible way of purchasing any crypto. But if you're a trader, that's totally fine. You can purchase it onto there. But as far as holding your own, you're going to want to get it from an exchange that you can move it off of.
Okay. Ooh, okay. I also had some Ethereum Classic. I didn't spend too much with Ethereum Classic though, but that's good to know. But I guess if I was just trading within the Robinhood platform, then that's not too big of a deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I think in the future they are saying that they're gonna make it possible to move your crypto off that exchange to your own wallet, which is good for the whole ecosystem. That just shows that this market actually has the Bitcoin or whatever crypto that you're purchasing in their own platform to give out. That's not just a price on a screen.
Is it possible to have multiple wallets?
Yeah, you can have an infinite amount of wallets, which is probably a good idea. I mean, you don't want to have too many to where you forget, because I've been in that stage where I just created a whole lot of different wallets, and I actually had like a quarter of a Bitcoin on a wallet that I totally forgot about, and I lost my password and my seed phrase to that wallet, and I can never get it back. So, I mean, you want to have plenty of enough for privacy, as far as like use this wallet for your public to send back and forth to somebody, or to send it from an exchange to that wallet. But you also want to have like your own private wallet, or a private, your own private wallet to have basically as a savings account that nobody really knows about, because it is on a public blockchain, so people can see the amount that you have inside your wallet.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, in fact, there are some like articles I remember hearing of. So there's like a few things. There's one, the whole difference between the types of storage that you have, right? Cold versus hot, warm. Apparently, I found out a few weeks ago is a thing. People are just making things up now. There's warm storage. So I guess like cold storage is supposed to be like nothing electronic, where you just write down the name of like your crypto, like public, private address, or I guess the public address, your like you said, your seed or your password, and that's just like cold storage. There's like nothing digital about it.
Right. Yeah, you could definitely do it that way. There's also, I mean, cold storage where you have it on an actual hardware wallet. Cold just means that you own it. Nobody can just jack it from you. as far as like a hot wallet goes, it's on an exchange and it's easily accessible to withdrawal. So you could just see it as like cold. You can't move very fast. And it's really hard to get it from somebody that doesn't give you a seed. Or a hot wallet is, there's a lot going on at that exchange wallet, whatever, and it can be easily moved off really quick because it's so hot.
I'm going to copy link. I'm gonna drop that in.
Jerry, you're giving me a lot to think about.
Yeah, and if anybody ever has any questions, as far as like a specific question on crypto or whatever, you can always send me a direct DM on Twitter. It's at Joe_Schmo_007. It's kind of hard to, but I
got you.
Anybody can always ask you guys, and you guys can link it, or just ask me, any of you guys, if they don't want to directly contact me, and I can give you any answers. I can also come on anytime you guys want.
Let's see, SH.
Hey, Nate. And Nate's my friend from college. He streams. Yeah, he does like some artwork, and he creates T-shirts, which are pretty nice.
Uphold. I actually have an Uphold account, so people can send me BAT, Batcoin. It's BAT is basic attention token, so you can actually use a BAT browser, and they'll randomly send you like things from different companies, and if your attention goes to that and you click on it, it'll just show you what you can purchase, and it's basically just like an advertisement. It doesn't give you any other advertisements besides the ones that it brings up. You don't have to click on it, but if you do, they reward you with a certain amount of basic attention token, and you can trade that in for Bitcoin. A lot of companies use that. Like if you download the BAT browser and you don't like ads on YouTube videos, no ads on YouTube videos. It'll just show you, I think it's a set amount. I think it's like one every 30 minutes or one every hour. If you want it, if you don't want it, any basic attention token, you can turn off all ads completely. It's just a way for companies to, they pay the basic attention token like governance to send out advertisements for people to look at. And if you do look at it, they give you a certain amount of that, because I mean, they want advertisement to stay relevant, but they also want to pay you for your time, which should be the way that things work, to be honest. It's all, this whole world is turning into an advertisement world.
That is true. So when you say trade in your tokens for Bitcoin, how do you do that? Is it that you sell it and then make it like liquidate it and then you buy Bitcoin, or is there?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to move different tokens to like Bitcoin. You can actually like move that basic attention token to Coinbase, and Coinbase to Bitcoin. So you can just like instantly transfer it. But people need to realize there is tax implications on that. As far as purchasing Bitcoin or Ethereum or Ethereum Classic, whatever you wish to purchase, there's not a taxable event on that if you hold on to it. When you do sell it, unfortunately, there is a tax event on that. So it's just like any other stock that you purchase as of now. So people just need to be aware of that.
Okay.
But yeah, there's plenty of places you can like switch your Bitcoin over. Like Uphold, I believe, as somebody asked about, you can actually move your like Ethereum onto the Uphold account, and you can instantly transfer over to a different asset. and then you can actually move. What's good about Uphold is you can move that asset to your own wallet.
Okay. Okay. So is Uphold an extension? Like a Chrome extension? A browser extension?
It's its own website.
Okay.
I think there's also an app. Yeah, there's also an app on there as well. Like you can, if you join, I think it's a basic attention token for creators. I think it's called BAT Creators. You can actually set up your own website or link your Twitter, YouTube, whatever to basic attention token. And if anybody wants to give you BAT for your creative work, they can donate it to that specific URL and it'll just get funded to your Uphold account.
Okay. And is your Uphold account a wallet?
Yeah. So it's a wallet. It's just a general wallet with basically anything that anybody sends you. It creates its own wallet for you.
Okay.
So that you have like a vast array of different cryptos that you can accept.
Okay. Okay.
That's definitely useful.
Yeah, there's an upcoming coin called Bitcoin. That'd be probably the best one to invest in.
This is the same.
You win.
Yeah, there is a lot of info. Sorry, man. Like I said, if there's any specific questions, I can write it down for you and take a picture of it and send it to you. That way you have it forever, or just write you a DM.
So
There's a lot.
yeah, I don't like this. So I was looking up something called Decentraland. It looks like it's like a virtual reality world where it's run on like the Ethereum blockchain, and they use this fungible token called Mana as their way of like maybe purchasing small things within the world. I was trying to get into it just to see what it's about. What exactly is a fungible token, and is that something to even bother investing in?
So try to make it easy. A fungible token is, let's put it in the terms of like stocks.
Okay.
If I have a Tesla stock and I give it to somebody else, that stock is still Tesla stock.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same thing given to somebody else. A non-fungible token is its own thing. So if you create, let's say, a portion of that land in Decentraland, it would be a non-fungible token that you give to somebody else, and now it's like its own personal block. It's its own thing. It's not, you can't just create 1,000 of them and say that it's something else. It's its own thing. It's kind of hard to explain. But as far as like stock terms go, it's not its own. Every other thing is its own like transaction, its own name, basically. It's not just 1,000 stocks created or 1,000 pieces of Decentraland created. It's like its own property.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. I noticed that, like in Decentraland, on this one page where you can like name things or come up with names, and then it's always good to come up with a name because then somebody will have to like buy it, I guess, in order to make it a thing.
Right. Yeah, because it's its own like property. So if somebody were to buy that, you can't buy that certain NFT from anywhere else because it's its own thing. It's kind of hard to explain without getting like too technical. I'm just trying to make it easy.
Okay. Oh.
It's not manipulated. Basically, it's not just created out of thin air. Essentially,
because the whole thing feels like it is. But I mean, I understand kind of what you're saying. Man, yeah, it's a lot.
As far as Bitcoin being trusted, it is trustless. It's distributed. So when it comes to the government creating its own dollar, it can do that very easily. Tomorrow, you can have a USD coin. Will it break Bitcoin? Absolutely not, because they will still do the same thing they're doing today and creating more and more and more of that dollar to back the debt that they owe. Bitcoin has no debt. Bitcoin has no owner. It is trustless, peer-to-peer, decentralized. It's just that easy. I think for sure in the future, the U.S. will have its own dollar backed by nothing. So it'll be its own coin. And it'll be probably in their best interest to do that, because then they can trace where that dollar is going from into. It'd be the easiest way for somebody to look back on all the transactions you made and say, hey, you were telling a lie on your taxes, because I can look back and see all the transactions that you've made. With the US dollar paper, you can't do that. So it'd probably be in their best interest to do that, so they could do that easily. Cardano staking. Essentially, that's like what they were saying earlier with proof of stake. There's only a certain amount of Cardano being created, and if you own a big portion of that, you can stake it. Nowadays, you can stake really anything. They have like wrapped Bitcoin, where they put its own Bitcoin into an account and stake it, because they know that Bitcoin's there, and they can give it out in like dollar loans, as long as there's an asset there to be taken from. They'll give you interest on that Bitcoin or whatever other asset that you put in there. Unique and can, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just like I was saying with the like stocks. If I have a Tesla stock and you have a Tesla stock and we both trade that Tesla stock, it's exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
With a non-fungible token, they're totally separate things, different transactions.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the, I don't know. It's it's definitely a lot. Like the technical stuff is interesting, because like since I do computer software things, I was like, maybe I should look into how to get onto like the back end and be profitable. But at this point, I don't know. Maybe I'll just invest and call it a day.
It's kind of hard with Bitcoin to be profitable, but I mean, the miners are doing God's work, to be honest. They're making it easy for you and I to transact trustless currency.
Okay.
But yeah, there's you can go days and days and days of looking into the technicals. There's a lot.
I do have a question for anyone just getting into Bitcoin, like baby Bitcoins people. What would be some good articles or books or YouTube videos or YouTube people to look into that you'd recommend?
That's a very good question. I think the best website to go to would be 99bitcoins.com. They'll teach you everything you need to know about Bitcoin and show you like the fear, uncertainty, and doubt of Bitcoin. Like I think they have their own page on there of how many times Bitcoin has died. You know, like when uh MSNBC or whatever is saying, well, Bitcoin's dead, it's gonna go to zero. They'll put that article on there and show you, no, Bitcoin is not dead. It hasn't died. It's actually getting stronger.
It's like how millennials are killing the bar scene or whatever.
Absolutely. And it'll show you every way you can purchase Bitcoin, all the different types of apps, hardware wallets, paper wallets, how to trade Bitcoin, how to earn Bitcoin, and invest with like staking, lending, definance. And then, like I said, it'll show you everything that you need to know about Bitcoin. It's probably like the all-in go-to for learning about Bitcoin. So it's 99bitcoins.com.
Okay.
Other than that, if you just look on YouTube and search Bitcoin, I'm sure there's a lot of, I don't really watch a lot of Bitcoin YouTube videos because there's a lot of people just trying to pump up the price or profit themselves. But
Right, yeah.
I'm doing a lot of copy and pasting and whatnot, and I do.
Yep, that's the correct one. Yep.
If Chainlink, 99 Bitcoins, got it. I'll post the one in the description box below. So, boom.
Okay.
Function of Chainlink.
Good question. I don't really know a lot about Chainlink, to be honest.
And I assume she's not talking about the fence. How do I keep people out of my Bitcoin wallets?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Chainlink is trying to be a better version of Ethereum because it's basically just like a decentralized network of people that move smart contracts, except it's a lot cheaper. Ethereum's gotten a lot more expensive because they use what they call gas fees to move their tokens or their smart contracts from one person to another. So it's a lot more expensive. Chainlink's trying to make it faster, quicker, and less expensive. That's why, I mean, it's kind of gotten pretty hyped up. I think that's the best way of describing what Chainlink is. Just trying to be a better Ethereum.
Gotcha. So, do you feel that everything is going to be decentralized? Not necessarily just money, because we're seeing like Decentraland, which I guess is on some like on Ethereum's, I guess, blockchain, if that's the correct terminology.
Yeah, essentially, it's a smart contract blockchain. Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So on Ethereum smart contract. And it's like this world, this online world, and there's NFTs, which is, you know, the artwork, which is becoming a big thing, you know, with OpenSea, I think is like a place where a lot of people sell their digital artwork. Do you feel that everything is going to start going towards decentralization because we already have VR worlds and artwork, and like who knows what's next? Maybe watching movies in VR in a decentralized world or something.
Yeah, I think it's going to become very, very popular. A lot of people want their own thing. Like take Pokemon, for instance. They want what's the most valuable card to hold on to, which is a Charizard. So everybody wants their own Charizard. When it comes to like video games, NFTs would probably be a very good thing to set on like video games. So instead of like art, you having your own piece of art that you can sell on the Ethereum blockchain. you can create 10,000 t-shirts on a video game, and you can purchase that as like an add-on to the video game. So that, I think that's probably like the best way of explaining how it could become the future. As far as like a decentralized platform for like YouTube, I think that could become very, very popular. Instead of getting monetized by advertisements, you could become monetized by your own viewers. So like a subscription program, just having people pay for what they like, that's probably going to become the future.
Okay. I predict, like in the future, we're gonna have, because VR headsets are becoming a thing. Oculus, owned by Facebook, they're selling their wireless VR headset for like $300. I think VR headsets are going to become like a bigger thing, and I feel that they're going to have, which I'm sure they already do now. I wouldn't be surprised if they have like virtual art shows, NFT art galleries and things like that. And instead of having to physically go to an art gallery and art show to purchase a particular thing of art, you could just put on your headset and be there live. And I have a feeling that there's probably going to be houses in VR and furniture, so it'd be kind of like Animal Crossing or The Sims.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're getting very, very futuristic when it comes to that. I think Decentraland actually has its own gallery, so you can put in the transaction to whatever you purchased as an NFT in your own space, and it'll show up whatever that NFT is on the wall of your own location. So you can kind of broadcast to the world, hey, this is my NFT right here. I purchased that artwork. So yeah, you're not wrong. I think there's going to be a lot of platforms where you can just showcase your NFTs on your own piece of land in a digital world. It's kind of crazy to think of, but it's becoming the future.
Mm-hmm.
And you can buy Teslas with Bitcoin now. So, I mean, if that's not the future coming to fruition, I don't know what is.
So I'm confused as how do you make a purchase via Bitcoin? So, yeah, like, do you liquidate? I know I said this before. Do you liquidate the Bitcoin money into US dollars and then buy it, or does it do the transfer of money just via online, and you don't have to think about it, if I'm making any sort of sense?
So that's where mining comes into play. When you do send a transaction in Bitcoin to another person in Bitcoin, you both have a public address, and like, we can take Tesla, for instance. They said they're not going to sell any of their Bitcoin for US dollars when they receive Bitcoin. So on their website, they'll have a receiving public address, and you'll take the Bitcoin from your wallet and send it to that public address, and they receive that Bitcoin that you sent to their wallet. So there's no like liquidation process of USD until the receiving end sells that Bitcoin for USD.
Okay.
So it's peer-to-peer, directly Bitcoin to Bitcoin.
Gotcha.
All right. Holy cow. Yeah, this is a lot. So again, just to reiterate for anybody that is coming in, we have a bunch of links posted in the description box below on our YouTube page. So if you look at this later on down the road, you forget what we're talking about, the links that you see in the chat, they're in our description box down below. Goodness gracious. Wow, this is a lot. I mean, a lot. I know a lot of people are like, this is a lot to wrap my head around. I'm like, yeah, is,
It sure
Kinda-
is.
but it's so worth it. It's so well worth it because a lot of people in a lot of circles are talking about this type of ordeal, and sometimes many people they don't really have like that big wealth of knowledge. And so again, Joe, kudos to you for coming on and kicking that knowledge to us and for us and helping us understand the world of cryptocurrency and things of that sort. So we appreciate you big time.
Absolutely. Like I said, you guys can reach out to me whenever and DM me, get in contact. I'm able to be reached to very easily.
Yes.
When it comes to investing in Bitcoin, don't think too much about it at
Okay.
first. At first, just throw yourself into the fire. The best way to do it is to just jump right in. It sounds kind of scary, but put $10 into Bitcoin and learn how to transact, learn the ins and outs of it, and then get into the technicals. I think you can go to bitcoin.com, I believe, or just go to Google and look up the Bitcoin white paper if you really want to get into the technicals, and it will tell you everything you need to know about why Bitcoin was created, who's it created for, and why it is the future. But like I said, just jump right into it and throw yourself in the fire. That's the best way. That's the way that I got into Bitcoin. I didn't really think too much about it, because if you think too much about it, you're going to get scared with anything. If I were to think too much about purchasing gold or silver, I probably wouldn't have purchased it.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
True. And also, I'm glad you brought that up, Joe, too, because the two things. Joe's Twitter handle is in the description box below. So if you guys have any questions for Joe, his Twitter handle is in the description box below. Also, the link to the Bitcoin wallet, you can navigate from there and you can find that other information as well. So again, all that information is in the description box below. I think that's like the most links we've had for an episode.
Sweet. Perfect.
Like for real, because as you guys were talking, I was copying and pasting and all other good stuff. So you guys have the wealth of information and just use it wisely. That's all I can say. Use it
Yep.
wisely.
Information is power. You guys know what the deal is.
Mhm.
Oh.
For sure. Yeah. And thank you for this information.
Seriously, you're giving this information for free, and it's very much appreciated. Taking your time out,
Yeah. Agreed.
Anytime.
Agreed. And we're gonna try to wrap this thing up. Does anybody have any final comments, questions, thoughts? Share those.
I did. When it came to you, Joe, with the I know you said you take like a certain percentage or so, like 75 or something really high of your paycheck. Are you typically using, I guess, just to walk through it again from the first level, from your bank account, you put it onto one of the big exchanges, I guess, like Coinbase or something, and you just buy the Bitcoin. That's kind of like the first thing that you do, right? For the people listening, go to Coinbase Pro, go to Coinbase.com, or like one of those first exchanges.
Yeah, you can do that, or there is to make it a lot easier, and you don't want to like go all in at the certain price that it is, because as most people know, Bitcoin fluctuates in price. It goes lower, it goes higher, it could go super high, it could drop down $10,000. It's the way an asset is. It's not going to go up forever. It's not going to go down forever. It's just the way that the asset is. There is a website called swan.com, I believe. Let me look this up. It's just Swan Bitcoin. You can link up it's called swanbitcoin.com, SWAN, and then bitcoin.com. You can link up your bank account to it and tell them you want to, they make it very easy. Tell them you want to put in a certain amount of money every week, and they purchase a a certain amount every single day. So let's say you want to put in $70 a week from your paycheck or from your bank account, and it'll purchase $10 every day. That way that you never have to worry about saying, oh my God, the price is dipping. I gotta jump right in right away. Or, oh my God, the price is too high. There's no way I'm going to buy it. It'll do that for you. And you can also make up on the settings of that page, you can have it to where it automatically sends out the Bitcoin that you've purchased every week to your own wallet without you needing to do anything with it. So it's all set up and ready to go. It makes it very easy. So that's the way that I do it. I know how much I make per week, and I know that 75% is this amount. I tell them to transfer over 75% of that weekly payment, and then it purchases the same amount of Bitcoin or the same amount in dollars every single day. That way I don't have to think about it. I don't need to worry about the price dipping or the price going up higher. It just automatically does everything for you.
Okay.
Nice. And
The dollar cost
What?
averaging stuff. I was just saying.
Dollar cost averaging is the easiest and best way to do it. You don't want to just jump right into it, just throwing all your money at it at once.
Okay.
Fair enough. And you pretty much always use cold storage from there. Like I actually just looked at the website, and it seems like, I guess it was kind of another question, was if you had like automated stuff when it came to like, maybe not scripts, but things that will sort of, transfer things automatically or sell at certain points when you see certain highs and lows. Or I don't even know if you go into that level of automation and sort of looking at, okay, this thing is this, sell at this limit, this thing is this. There's not really a market buy and sell, but
Yeah, I don't like I said, I don't think about it too hard like that. I just purchase the Bitcoin and save it. That's it. It's going to be an asset that I don't need to think about. I hold on to it for as long as I can. Dollar amount does not matter to me, to be honest. If it went up to $100,000, cool. If it went down to $3,000, good for it. I'm still going to purchase the same amount every single time because I know in the future it's going to become a global backed currency, just like gold and silver. So I don't really think about the price of when I'm going to sell it. If I do need to take a little bit out, just like my 401k, I take a little bit out of what I need. But when it comes to like thinking about the price and selling it at a certain amount or not selling it, I don't worry about that at all. If you do want to trade, there is certain platforms like FTX US. You can actually set an amount, like if it goes up to 65,000, you set a sell amount at that amount and it'll sell it for you. So everything's automated. It's pretty easy.
Okay, you've transcended the idea of money. You're like, what is the price? What is a US dollar? I don't care.
It doesn't matter. Bitcoin is all I worry about. Just the amount of Bitcoin, not the amount in US dollars.
Okay. Now I really want to get into this. Thank you so much. I feel like I was just focus on Bitcoin. I felt like Bitcoin was just scary because of the high amount and how everybody was talking about it. But I guess if you just buy, pieces of Bitcoins, I guess Satoshis, then just put a little bit in monthly, weekly, however, and just call it a day.
Yeah, just like your 401k. Nobody's scared of putting money into a 401k, but do you know what's in that 401k or who's controlling it or who's trading for you? Nope. You just put that money in because you know that in the future it's going to be worth more, or it's just going to be your retirement saving. So you just put it in there. Same with Bitcoin. You just put it in there knowing that it's an asset that has a set amount and it's going to be worth more every single time it gets halved. So
here we go. We've got another question.
There's no pros and cons of doing one or the other between Swan and Coinbase Pro. Coinbase Pro is more of a trading platform. If you know for sure that you're going to purchase $10 every day, you can do that on Coinbase Pro, no problem. Just at a certain time of every day, you can purchase that amount. Swan just makes it automated and easy so that you don't even have to think about it. I'm sure you might purchase drinks from Starbucks every day. You just don't think about it. You just go there, pay for the same thing every single day, and that's that. Same thing with Coinbase. You just don't think about it. It comes directly out of your account, and in the future, you'll probably thank yourself.
Okay.
Sweet.
But yeah, no difference between getting your Bitcoin from Swan than Coinbase Pro or Coinbase or whatever. Swan actually has a lower transaction fee when you purchase Bitcoin on there because you purchase directly from them. When it comes on Coinbase, there's going to be a transaction fee every single time you purchase Bitcoin because they have to have a market buy and a market sell for that asset. So you'll be paying a transaction fee and you'll be paying a withdrawal fee. Swan has like very minimal amount of a purchasing fee because you do it all through Swan itself. So that's probably like the pro of using Swan Bitcoin.
Okay.
Nice. Very nice. Any final questions, Chad? Al, Toby?
Not at the moment, but I'll definitely be hitting up Joe on Twitter if anything comes up.
Yeah, we can always do this again, or just DM me specifically, and I can answer any questions you guys have, or guide you in the direction if I don't know the answer.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah.
I ask if your groups that you, because I know, like, especially after the Robinhood fiasco, there were some Facebook groups particularly from like Yang Gang people, but obviously there's a lot of groups in general. And I don't know if you kind of are part of a lot of these different groups. I mean, you kind of have your set thing anyway, so you're doing your thing regardless of what other people are doing. But I'm curious if you kind of know of different networks of people that talk to each other about these types of things on Twitter within the gang or even outside, that you kind of communities you recommend being a part of.
If you look up Bitcoin on Twitter, you can find multiple groups or people that specifically talk technicals of Bitcoin, or just like the investing part of Bitcoin, or the growing asset of Bitcoin, or because when it comes to groups specifically for myself, I don't really have a group. I just talk to just people on Twitter that know and like Bitcoin. That's probably the best way to do it. But if we need to, if everybody has the app Telegram, we can always create a group, and if there's any questions that come up, I can be in there and answer any questions.
Oh wow, okay.
So we can create a Telegram group specifically set from this group right here, and we can have people join it if they want. My username on Telegram is @Joe_Schmo. I'll type in this chat right here so everybody can see it.
Do you use Discord by any chance?
I do. I will type that in here too, so you can give it to everybody. Let me get this here. And you can always message me on any of these apps. Or we can just create a group and we can all be a part of it.
Jeez.
I'll get my username on here.
You about to work. And that's for Telegram, correct?
That's for Telegram, yes.
Got it.
And this one right here is for Discord.
Okay. That's what your name was on Twitch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, when you're on the other time, I was like, wait, who's this person?
Yeah, I got two different identities. I have a Joe Schmo and Whispering Eyes. Those are my two identities.
Okay.
But we can create a group on Discord or Telegram or whatever one's easiest for everybody here.
Okay.
Let's see.
That's a good idea.
And we can talk anything Bitcoin or just investments in general. Like I said, I'm not an investment guru, but I do know a whole lot about investing.
Did you invest in anything other than crypto? Um,
Gold, silver, anything that's basically has a set amount and that's not governed by any governments.
okay.
That's what I like to invest in. Anything that's not centralized, basically.
Is it copper also?
Yeah, absolutely. Copper. Yep.
Okay.
And that's a use case as well.
Mhm.
Silver, copper can be used for many of other things. When
Like
there's there's only a certain set of supply and people actually need it for certain projects or like solar panels. There's a use case for it, so it's going to be worth more when there's not enough of it.
The last thing I would ask was about oil. I know that one has people have different opinions, especially during the pandemic. The price went negative, which was interesting. I don't know how you feel about oil investing.
Specifically, I don't invest in oil. I did invest in oil when it went down to basically negative rates. It got down to a penny, and I did buy myself about 1,000 barrels of oil. But will they ever give me the oil? Probably not. So I sold it at like $10.
Okay.
But I just did that for a quick little trade.
Mhm.
But no, it's kind of a government thing. So
A lot of geopolitical stuff with that.
All right. All right. Wow. Interesting episode. Interesting topics, discussions. All links are posted on the Melanated Council of Yang YouTube page in the description box below. Holy crap. Cow. All other good stuff. So we're going to wrap this thing up, you guys. We're going to wrap this thing up. We will catch you guys next week. Same channel, different topic, and who knows, we may have another special guest. You never know. So hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button. If you're on, give us a thumbs up. If you're on Twitch, follow. And if you feel generous enough, please subscribe. We appreciate it. And on, what's the other one? Twitter.
Periscope, but that's going away.
Yeah, calling it Twitter. on Twitter, follow us at McCoy.org. That's MCOY.org for further updates and whatnots and other and all other shenanigans that we could possibly get into. Yeah. And then, of course, we got Joe. His Twitter handle is in the description box below as well. So, again, kudos to you, sir. We appreciate you so much for kicking out. We appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And with that being said, good night, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. We will catch y'all next week. Peace.
Next week.
Bye.